Quick question for you. What do you call a place where the median house costs over $1 million? Milk runs $8 a gallon, electricity costs nearly triple the national average, and almost half the households can't afford their basic needs. Most people call it paradise. I call it the single strongest business case for financial wellness programs anywhere in America. Today, I'm making an argument that might sound a little backwards at first. Hawaii's financial institutions, the banks, the credit unions, from the big players down to the little community shops, shouldn't just match what mainland institutions do for financial wellness. They should absolutely blow past them. Financial education, coaching, emergency savings tools, first-time homebuyer help. On the mainland, that stuff is a nice to have. A community relations checkbox. In Hawaii, though, I truly believe it's a survival strategy for the customers, obviously. But also, and here's the part that should get every bank executive's attention, for the institutions themselves. And no, this isn't a charity pitch. Stick with me because the numbers here are genuinely wild. Let's start with what everyone thinks they know. Hawaii is expensive, sure. But expensive undersells it the way damp undersells a tsunami. Hawaii has the highest cost of living in the nation, an overall index score of 182, with second place Massachusetts way back at 145. Nearly double the national average. And why? Simple geography. It's a chain of islands, 2,500 miles from the nearest continent, and roughly 85 to 90% of consumer goods get shipped in, with that freight cost baked into every single price tag. Every gallon of milk took a boat ride to get to you, and it charges you for that ticket. The greatest hits? Oahu's median single-family home price has passed $1.2 million, a record. A gallon of milk runs $6.25 to $9.25, and gas averages nearly $5 a gallon. And my favorite is the electric bill. Hawaii has the highest electricity rates in the nation at roughly 40 cents per kilowatt hour versus about 16 or 17 cents nationally. If you've ever opened a HECO bill after a hot month, you know that special feeling. It's not aloha. Now here's the crucial part. It's not that incomes are low. HUD data puts the median family income for a family of four in Hawaii at about $123,000, which sounds pretty good on paper. The problem is the mismatch. Aloha United Way's research pegs the bare bones survival budget, housing, food, childcare, healthcare, transportation, zero extras, zero savings in that, at around $107,000 a year for a family of four. So a six-figure income in Hawaii isn't winning, it's breaking even. That's the whole problem in one sentence. Mainland paychecks, moon colony prices. So what does that math actually crush? There's a name for them. ALICE. Asset limited, income constrained, employed. People earning above the federal poverty level, but not enough to afford the basics where they live. Working people, your kid's teacher, the nurse, the guy fixing your car, the teller at the bank, which, oh, the irony, we'll come back to that in a second. In 2024, out of roughly 493,000 households in Hawaii, about 10% were in poverty, and another 33% were ALICE, a combined 44% of all households below the threshold of affording basic needs. 44%. That's not a niche demographic a bank can quietly ignore. In Hawaii, ALICE isn't a segment of your customer base. ALICE basically is your customer base. Statistically, ALICE is every other person in line at the branch. And these households are less likely to have resources to cover unexpected expenses like a car repair, a medical bill, or to recover from crises. Widespread ones like natural disasters or personal ones like losing a job. If that sounds familiar, that's the emergency fund problem I've talked about before, except in Hawaii, it's turbocharged because the emergency costs more, the paycheck stretches less, and there's no cheap suburb one exit down the highway to escape to. You can't commute in from a lower cost of living. It's an island. The water is the suburb. Two more numbers that genuinely stop me. More than half, 53%, of Hawaii residents under 35 fall below the ALICE threshold. That's the next generation of homebuyers, business owners, and yes, bank customers. And native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander households carry the largest ALICE burdens of all, meaning the people most rooted in these islands are the ones being squeezed the hardest. Let that one sit for a second. Okay, so people are struggling. People are struggling on the mainland too. Why should Hawaiian institutions care more? 3 reasons, and this is the heart of this whole episode. Reason number 1, the shocks are bigger and there's no escape hatch. When a mainland family hits financial trouble, they've got options. Move to a cheaper town, to a cheaper state, drive 20 minutes to a discount grocery store. In Hawaii, Every safety valve is welded shut by the Pacific Ocean, and the disasters, they don't do moderation. The August 2023 Lahaina wildfire killed over 100 people, destroyed more than 2,200 structures, and caused billions of dollars in damage. And the number of Alice households in Maui County jumped 9% since 2022, largely because of the fires. One afternoon of wind and fire pushed thousands of working families over the financial edge. A household with savings bends in a disaster. A household without savings breaks. Financial wellness in Hawaii isn't budgeting worksheets. It's disaster preparedness wearing a spreadsheet. Here's reason number 2, and this is the one I'd tattoo on every bank boardroom wall. When a mainland bank loses a struggling customer, that customer usually moves across town. When a Hawaiian institution loses one, they move across an ocean forever. Hawaii has a negative domestic net migration, more residents leaving for the mainland than arriving, in 23 of the past 25 years, in fact. And the outflow has accelerated since 2017, at one point causing 17 straight quarters of population loss. Over 1/3 of residents have considered leaving the state because they can't afford to live there. 37% of households priced out of paradise is not a bumper sticker, it's a business forecast. And think about what that means if you're a Hawaii bank or credit union. You are a local institution in a closed market. You can't just open 40 branches in Texas to replace the members you lost. Your deposit base, your loan book, your future mortgage customers, it's all the same finite pool of local families. Every family that gives up and flies to Vegas is a checking account, a car loan, a mortgage, and 3 future generations of members boarding a one-way flight out of town. A mainland bank's customer churn is a spreadsheet problem. A Hawaii institution's customer churn is an extinction curve. Helping local families become financially stable enough to stay isn't corporate social responsibility. It's customer retention in its purest, most existential form. Financial wellness is literally the product that protects every other product. And here's reason number 3. The culture is already built for it. The institutions just have to show up. Hawaii runs on ohana, responsibility to community, on multi-generational households sharing one roof and one budget. Sometimes because of tradition and sometimes because of the rent. A financial institution that positions itself as a genuine partner in keeping families rooted isn't fighting the culture like some mainland megabank pushing overdraft protection. It's swimming with the current. Aloha as a business model is totally fetch, honestly. And credit where it's due. Some of this is already happening. The recent statewide ALICE research itself was published with support from the Bank of Hawaii Foundation in partnership with the Aloha United Way and the Financial Help Network. When one of the state's biggest banks is funding the research that exposes how financially fragile its own market is, that tells you the industry knows. The question is whether knowing turns into doing at scale. So what would it mean for Hawaiian institutions to lead the country instead of following it? Few things that I would love to see concretely. Small dollar emergency savings products, front and center, automatic roundups, split direct deposit, prize linked savings, because research shows that even $2,000 in emergency savings dramatically boosts financial well-being. And in a state where nearly half of the households can't cover basics, that first $2,000 is the whole ballgame. Small dollar emergency loans at fair rates, so a busted transmission doesn't turn into a payday loan spiral. And yes, that includes looking out for the huge population of young military families stationed at Oahu, whose predatory lenders famously circle like sharks near every base gate. Free, real financial coaching, not a pamphlet, a human, especially for the under 35 crowd, since more than half of them are underwater on basics. First-time homebuyer programs, aggressive enough to actually matter in $1 million market. Disaster recovery financial playbooks, ready before the next Lahaina, not after it. And energy financing. Solar loans are practically a public service in a state where electricity costs 40 cents a kilowatt hour and rooftop solar can pay for itself in 4 to 6 years. That might be the single highest impact financial wellness product in America, and it's disguised as a home improvement loan. None of this is radical. Mainland institutions dabble in it all the time. The argument is about intensity. On the mainland, financial wellness helps customers get ahead. In Hawaii, it decides whether your customers get to exist in your market at all. Here's the thing about islands. Everything is connected because there's nowhere else for anything to go to. The bank's health and the community's health aren't two separate line items. They're the same reef. When the working families go, the deposits go, the loans go, the workforce goes, and eventually the institution is a beautiful branch building serving nobody but tourists and trust funds. Hawaii's financial institutions have the strongest possible reasons, moral, cultural, and coldly financial, to make financial wellness their loudest, best funded, most serious line of business in the country. Not because it looks good in an annual report, because on an island, saving your neighbor's household budget is how you save your own.